Hey everyone, today we are returning to my coverage of the Age of Apocalypse. Unlike past videos that have focused on Magneto's X-Men, today we'll be looking at what's going on within the forces of Apocalypse. Then at the end of this video, Nightcrawler begins his own mission to save all of reality. Be sure to subscribe to Comic Island for more videos on comics new and old. In New York City, Cyclops and his forces confront a group of mutants. The escapees despair at the sight of Scott Summers, as he is considered one of the very best in Apocalypse's army, long having served as an elite member of Mr. Sinister's guard. As a high-ranking servant for a horseman of Apocalypse, Cyclops is well respected by his peers and deeply feared by his enemies. With this in mind, the escaped mutants scatter rather than fight Scott and his forces head-on, hoping that at least some of them will be able to get away. Cyclops and his troops, however, are able to efficiently and brutally take down every one of those fleeing. Only one woman, a Morlock named Artemis, manages to pin down Scott, but she is quickly killed by his now recovered brother, Alex Summers. Cyclops is annoyed that his sibling killed the woman, as he is confident he could have captured her alive, but Havok is dismissive of this concern, accusing his brother of getting weak and soft in a world that does not tolerate such things. Over in Sinister's slave pens, the siblings Elizabeth and Samuel Guthrie pin down a human riot. Once they are finished, Sam, also known as Cannonball, threatens to punish the rioting humans, but Scott arrives and orders the man to stand down. This provokes an argument between the two, and when Scott walks away from it, Alex comments to Sam that they will just have to accept things like this while Scott is still in charge. As such, Havok decides to visit Hank McCoy, the Dark Beast, who is currently reducing the mutants captured by the team earlier into raw genetic material. As McCoy talks of how this material will be used to breed a new batch of Infinites for Apocalypse's army, Havok mentions that it is a shame these clones only live up to a year, before asking if Hank would obey Alex should anything happen to Scott. Beast, knowing full well that Alex intends to betray his brother, simply states he is happy to work for anyone that will allow him to continue his sadistic experiments in peace. Hank also has a warning for Alex that Sinister truly cares about Scott and won't take the death of Cyclops lightly. Elsewhere, Scott looks for Sinister but finds nothing. He encounters some colleagues named Jesse and Terrence Aronson, also known as the Bedlam Brothers, but turns down an invitation to join them on a trip to heaven. There, at the neutral nightclub hosted by Angel, Alex is greeted by the Bedlams and Warren Worthington. The club is attacked by a human named Henry Gyrich, one of the few remaining people attempting open rebellion against Apocalypse. Though Gyrich threatens to attack the people attending the club, the man is almost instantly defeated by the Bedlam Brothers. Alex then quietly slips away for a romantic encounter with the club's human singer, Scarlett McKenzie. On returning for the night, Jesse implies to Scott that Alex had an affair with the woman, and at the mere mention that Alex might be having sex with a human, he turns hostile. Jesse quickly stands down, stating he was only kidding, as such encounters between mutants and humans are outright illegal in Apocalypse's domain. Scott then has Alex and the Bedlams break into one of Sinister's labs with him, only to find that Mr. Sinister has destroyed his own facility in an effort to cover his own tracks. Realizing Sinister is truly gone, Alex is delighted that his opportunity to seize power from his own brother has finally come. Far away, Sinister destroys yet another secret lab, his plans already in motion. Later, a young man named Nate has dreams of waking up and discovering Cyclops, while suffering from amnesia himself. Nate briefly sees Magneto and Bishop talking in the X-Mansion before waking up from this dream, comforted by his team of rebellious mutants known as the Outcasts. Nate is an extremely powerful mutant, and his dream caused his telekinesis to destroy the area around him. The Outcasts put on a show for some surviving humans, reciting A Midsummer's Night Dream. Thanks to Nate and his teammate Mastermind, a silent but powerful psychic, they are able to disguise their mutant nature from the human population so as to escape and avoid detection by those who serve Apocalypse. The leader of the Outcasts is a mutant called Forge, and he is concerned about Nate. As a young mutant with growing powers, Nate is eager to explore these new abilities and push his mind farther, but in doing so, he risks exposing them all to Apocalypse. Forge tells the young man that he believes he is powerful enough to rival Apocalypse himself one day, but is worried his protege will get himself killed before he is able to fully develop these abilities. Sure enough, at that very moment, the Shadow King informs Apocalypse that he can detect the growing powers of this young man. Overhearing this, Cyclops wonders if this new telepath will be of use to Summers and his own personal agenda. Apocalypse decides to task his servant Domino with putting together a team of hunters to find this new telepath and recruit him by force. If they refuse to serve Apocalypse, Domino is told to kill this young upstart. In a small Kansas town, Nate and Forge watch as the town is forcibly relocated. Apocalypse's soldiers, tasked with shipping these humans off, likely for live experimentation, show little mercy towards those they are capturing, and kill any who resist. As the humans are loaded onto the train, one of the Outcasts, a human pterodactyl named Soaron, drops a bomb on the train tracks. The Outcasts break the humans free, incurring the wrath of the Infinite Army, but Nate proves a powerful force against Apocalypse's men. One young woman among the humans, however, witnesses an Infinite sneaking up on Nate, and in a sudden activation of her own abilities, destroys the Infinite with a sonic scream. The woman passes out, so Nate grabs her and escapes with the rest of the Outsiders. Later, as they leave, Forge berates Nate once again, as the young man used his powers recklessly in the process of freeing the humans. On the road, they are encountered by a man who introduces himself as Essex, and claims to be able to help the Outsiders. Far off, in what remains of Detroit, a young woman named Switchback meets a man named Kane Marco, and travels with him, seeking a haven from the world of Apocalypse known as Avalon. Kane asks her about the outside world, aware of the dystopia created by Ensabanur, but ignorant of just how badly things are going. During their journey, Marco rambles about his dead brother, until finally he leads her to Avalon, a place hidden deep within the Antarctic. Back in America, Nightcrawler meets with Angel, having arranged travel to Avalon as well. A mutant named Destiny lives there and runs the place, and Magneto needs her in order to confirm Bishop's story of the altered timeline. The two mutants are barely able to contain their hostility towards one another, with Kurt viewing Warren as a traitor who works with Apocalypse, and Warren, quick to point out Kirk's mother, has killed many refugees seeking out Avalon for safety. In spite of this, Angel tells Nightcrawler he can find transport in an abandoned building that used to be owned by Tony Stark. At the X-Mansion, Magneto confers with Kurt's mother, Mystique. Raven has long served as a ferryman for those seeking Avalon as refuge. She refuses Magneto's request to go there with her son, though, and retrieve Destiny. Mystique has a history with the leader of Avalon and doesn't want to face her again, but agrees when Eric ruthlessly threatens to reveal her location to Apocalypse's forces. In New York City, Nightcrawler meets with a mutant named John Proudstar, and they witness an indigenous ceremony which Kurt despises. Nightcrawler had a bad history with the Christian church he grew up around, so much so that he rudely insults the ritual and those performing it. Proudstar retorts he is well aware of Kurt's mother, Raven Darkholme, and how she abuses and robs refugees. In response, Kurt grabs John's outstretched finger and teleports it a few feet away, severing the digit and ordering the man to take him to Avalon without any further talk of Mystique. Watching this conversation unfold, a young mutant woman named Danielle Moonstar leaves. She is accosted by an Infinite, and when the soldier makes a racist comment towards her, Moonstar immediately kills the clone. Entering a Madri church, Danielle is brought to Apocalypse, who is standing next to a tortured man they call Dead Man Wade. and Sabanur warns Danny that she can't keep killing guards like that, especially since, at this point, he values their lives far more than hers. Danielle asks about Wade, and Apocalypse comments that the man is having another psychotic episode. Wade was forcibly given a healing factor in a crude human experimental program called Weapon X, and though it cured the man's cancer and made him a useful combat asset, the treatment badly affected the man's mind and appearance. Apocalypse seems to keep him around largely out of amusement, more than for the tortured experiments his scientists inflict on the man or his use in missions. Danielle informs Apocalypse of Nightcrawler's new mission, so Sabanur orders his sadistic underling to Mask to take Danielle and Wade, pursue Kurt Darkholme, and find this Avalon. Meanwhile, Kurt is brought to a submarine called X-Calibre, used to quietly shuttle those fleeing Apocalypse out of New York City, and with hundreds of other refugees, he begins a long journey to Antarctica. In Avalon, Switchback is introduced to Destiny. When they touch hands, the woman receives a disturbing vision of the Apocalypse. Next time, the final piece of the puzzle in the alpha phase of Age of Apocalypse is laid. Then, we get into how this world came to be a little bit next time here on Comic Island.